here with Pat Shurmur. Pat, you have been in the league for 21 years.
Right.
How did this opportunity to become the Broncos offensive coordinator come about?
Well, you know, once I got let go in New York, I made everybody aware of the fact that I wanted to still coach. You know, some guys might take some time off, but I'm a career coach. I had a relationship with Coach Fangio, obviously knew John Elway and had great respect for this organization. And then we started talking, and after we started talking, it sort of happened quickly, and then here I am. And I've been working 3 weeks already, and it's really great to be here.
There were a number of other teams interested in you. Why were the Denver Broncos the best fit?
For all the reasons that you might expect. Obviously, you know, very important to go to an organization that has winning in their DNA, which the Broncos do. It's very important to the people that you work with, John Elway, Vic Fangio, the staff that was already in place, some outstanding coaches. And then our game is about the players and the fans. And so the group of players that have already been assembled here, I was just very excited to work with them as well.
You've spent the past 11 seasons as either a head coach or an offensive coordinator. But more than just being a coach or an OC, teaching has been a huge part of who you are. Why is teaching so important to you?
Well, I think it's the foundation of who we are as coaches. And I think, you know, it can look very complicated out there. 11 guys running around, and it seems helter-skelter and chaotic. But I've always enjoyed taking some things that might be very complicated, make it somewhat simple for the players so they can go out and execute at a high level. And I've always taken great joy out of seeing a young man improve and go out and produce and help his team win.
What about Vic Fangio in particular has impressed you?
Well, he's always played great defense in my mind. You know, the times that we went against one another, very hard to score against, had a great respect for how he coached defense. And you know, I can see now, having been here for 3 weeks, why he's been so successful.
Well, it's no secret that you and the Giants scouted Drew Lock heavily last year. You're known for that three-vert aggressive offense. So what about Drew Lock and his big arm really excited you when you were making your decision to come to Denver?
Well, we liked him a great deal last year. And, you know, I had 6 exposures with him where, you know, somewhere, whether it be the Combine or the Senior Bowl or you know, individual visits, whatnot. And so I got to know him. And, you know, he and Daniel Jones are very similar in a lot of ways. You know, they're really good from the pocket, but they can move around. They're basketball players. You know, they were old basketball players. So they're good athletes. They can move around, which you need to be able to do in today's game. And they're winners, you know. And they played at schools where they weren't always the favorite. And so they learned how to handle adversity, too, which I think is important for a quarterback. So he's got a lot of the really good stuff, and then he was able to put some of it on display last year where he helped the Broncos win 4 games. And so really looking forward to working with him.
Mike Shula just named the Broncos quarterbacks coach. You have history with him. We've seen what he can do with young quarterbacks, Cam Newton probably being the best example.
Sure.
How do you expect Drew Lock to develop with the help of Mike Shula?
Well, I think the Broncos, number one, and then Drew Lock and all the other quarterbacks are very, very lucky. He was available and wanted to come here. I think the world of Mike. I think he's an outstanding person, even better coach. I knew him before he came to New York to be my coordinator. And having worked with him, everything I thought I knew, I learned even more good stuff. And so I think Drew is going to really, really appreciate the expertise, the experience, and all the things that Mike can teach him.
Well, you've had a few weeks to look at the film. Who are some of the offensive weapons that this team already has that you are so excited to work with?
Yeah, you know, I've had a chance to watch most of the film, and we're talking about scheme and whatnot, but there's a lot of young players that made an impact last year. Noah Fant, you know, Cortland Sutton, some of the other receivers, Philip Lindsay, obviously we've spoken about Drew Lock, and some of the linemen up front, Dalton Risner, did a really nice job as a rookie, not to mention some of the veteran players that had an impact. So I haven't had a chance to meet a lot of them yet. Look forward to working with that total group.
With the recent success of the Kansas City Chiefs, I've heard some people say, you know, well, the Chiefs, they're going to win the West for however many years. The Broncos, they can contend for that wild card spot. That's just not the Broncos way. The Broncos, they want to be the best. They want to win the West. How can you help them do that?
Well, I hope I can make a small impact on that. I'm just going to try to do my job and see how it all fits. But there's winning in the Broncos DNA. There's Super Bowl trophies around here. There's a lot of good young talent. And, I'm sure we're in a position where we're going to add more good players to the roster. And I just want to have a small part in helping us win.